Hello, everybody. Robot Goat here, just starting off. I look very greasy. I have the biggest zit ever on my nose, and we're just gonna pretend that it doesn't exist. Because you can't really ignore it, so I at least have to acknowledge it. But I kindly ask that we all just pretend it's not there. You know, kind of like, Christians with contradictions in the Bible. Hey, Meeks, how's it going? Had to make sure somebody was streaming on Tuesday, right? AKA Tuesday. Because that's my name. Because my name is T. Hilarity. Precisely, Meeks. We're just gonna not pretend anything, right? Inumaki, hello, welcome in. Thank you for the heart, me. Missed y'all yesterday. It felt weird not streaming, but I was quite tired. Oh, Meeks, you're so good at keeping this up. Wow. I really admire your devotion. Let's see. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Hello, Brach32 for TOS. Fluid pronouns.
Okay, what's your religion or lack thereof?
I prefer lack thereof, but I use Christians denying science. I liked the robot goat. Good name too.
Thank you.
But Gethsemane, I try to put science words to Gethsemane, and it's hard.
Okay. I'm more doing this to speak with people who are believers. Um,
Oh, totally. I don't want to waste your time, but thank you. Cool life.
Thank you for coming up. Ooh, what a treat to start this off with. Hmm. Hey, final boss, talk if you're gay.
You lost.
Ah!
I joined
Hey.
the joke. What was funny?
Oh, it was just great timing. It's very comedic timing because I'm very funny. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Donald. My age is 33. My pronouns are he, him.
All right. So what is your religion or lack thereof?
I believe in the Christian deity, God Almighty.
Gotcha. So why do Christians deny science?
I think science presupposes things that only God could do.
What does science presuppose?
In philosophy of science, you learn that that science presupposes laws of nature, all sorts of different things, consciousness itself even,
We don't presuppose laws of
to
nature,
do
we observe
science.
the laws of nature. That's not presupposition if you observe them.
Where is logic under a microscope?
Logic applies to like statements, not
Metaphysics, right?
No, if you're talking about like logic, we would apply those to statements. What do you mean? Like if we're looking at like the peptidoglycan in the cell wall of the bacteria, we don't need logic to do that.
Okay, so like meaning is required for value statements, right? And that would be required to do the act of science. Is that true?
No. What do you
So
mean
like
by
why
meaning?
is like if you're doing a test and it's either a 1 or a 0, you need the law of non-contradiction to discern that 1 is 1 and not 0. You're presupposing logic to have that test done.
That's not how tests really work. If you mean
It's
that we
either
presuppose
thing or
that the
not
things that
thing,
we
right?
observe are the things we observe, yeah. But again,
Yeah,
my like example of looking at the peptidoglycan in the cell wall of a bacteria, how do we need logic for that?
well, you would, of course, you would need logic for that. You'd need logic for
Demonstrate
all
it.
things.
How would we need logic to observe the peptidoglycan in a bacterial
Well,
in a
because
bacterial cell wall?
you would, as an agent, you would have to want to observe that instead of throwing yourself in a wood chipper or whatever, right?
That has
So
nothing to
like,
do with logic. That's just motivation.
is logic not required for motivation?
Logic is not always required for motivation.
I'm pretty sure that in science, the philosophy of science, there are many different metaphysical aspects that are presupposed to do the act of science itself. Further question, just imagine I throw that out entirely.
No, hold on, because you're
Can
still not making
science-
sense. You've yet to demonstrate
Okay.
why I need logic to look at peptidoglycan in a bacterial cell wall. Why do I need logic for that?
Oh, okay, again, maybe that's a bad representation of my position. This is, I suppose, the like crux of why I don't wholly believe in science alone, like why I'm not an empiricist. Can the scientific method make the scientific method? Using strictly science, can you get to the scientific method?
Using strictly science, can you get to the scientific method? Well, the scientific method, I would say it's like intersubjective. I'd say it's an agreed upon set of rules that we've determined after like careful, repeated observation.
Yeah, but can science make that? Can science, you see my point?
Well, science doesn't make everything, but it is a scientifically developed method itself, yes.
So science made the scientific method would be your contention there.
No, I would say the laws of science, not the laws, the rules of science were followed in the making of the scientific method, but again, the scientific method is not objective. It's an intersubjective set of rules determined by scientists based on repeated testing and observation. So we test the method and it seemed to work. You're trying to say that like science can't make the scientific method. Well, maybe there was a proto version of a scientific method and we figured out that it didn't always lead us to accurate conclusions. So we went back and redeveloped what we consider to be the scientific method until we got more accurate results from it. That's not
That seems
circular.
like a logical thing to do, don't it, right? Like,
again, you're trying to bring logic into it where it's not necessary. Because
logic
when you're talking,
is metaphysic,
you're kind of
and
you're
science
conflating what you mean by logic, because you're sometimes using logic to mean
reason.
Yeah, you're sometimes using it to mean a reasonable thing to do, and sometimes you're trying to use it as in like not contradicting the laws of logic. Those are two different things that we're talking about, because you may say it's reasonable to refine the scientific method, but then earlier you were talking about like the laws of contradiction. That's a separate form of logic than just doing what you think is reasonable. Because I know we do use logical colloquially to mean reasonable, but that's not strictly defining like following the laws of logic when we say it's the logical thing to do.
Science is the study of things, correct? Like matter?
I mean, yeah, sure. Why respond to what I said when you can say whatever you want to say?
No. You're correct in what you said. That's why I'm sorry. I should have said yes. You're correct.
Yes. I would say science is not necessarily conformed to matter, because we also use science to observe things that, like, we talk about like space-time. That's not necessarily
Science uses time as a measurement,
matter.
but it cannot rationalize all time. Like eternity cannot be observable.
Well, yeah, because we have finite lives, but I don't see what's the issue with that.
There are metaphysical categories that science does not observe that are presupposed for science to exist at all. I suppose that's my argument. I don't know if I flushed it out well enough, but I think that that's a pretty decent...
results of those things? Because sometimes that's how we draw
like in our daily life,
right?
Sure, but that doesn't mean you can justify them.
Well, I mean,
the use of them,
right? Like, so if we find like fossilized footprints, that's not necessarily direct proof of a certain animal, but it's good evidence that the animal was there because we have these imprints that it left behind. If we can observe the results of specific things, then I think it's just us using what we have available at our disposal. And I don't see how just saying, well, it must be God, is better than using what we can observe.
Would you believe that there are like inalienable laws of science, like thermodynamics is the one that always comes to mind?
In our current universe, perhaps, but I don't think that means that is how a universe must necessarily be.
Like, is that an ought statement? Like, it ought be this way or it ought not be that way?
What I'm saying is, I think that it could have been different. It simply isn't. So it's not that... It's not an ought statement. It's just, we have a gravitational constant. It could have been something else, but it's not.
Okay. I guess what I'm kind of getting at is like the idea of like, if you affirm that things exist, you also are then left with a question of what are concepts and do concepts exist? And if you can't view concepts in an observable fashion through science, but still believe that they exist, you run into like a Kantian or a Humean problem where you can't really justify them in epistemology, but you can utilize them in your daily life.
Yeah, what are you meaning by exist?
Exactly. Exist metaphysically. Universally.
Okay, if you're trying to say they... Universally? Okay, you just said two different things.
But both would be true. Like logic is universal, right? The laws of logic they're unchanging,
logic
right?
Is
true across all things in all time.
Yeah, I would say logic is universal, but the laws of logic would be intersubjective. It's just our means of conceptualizing something that is objective and observable.
That would not ground that the thing you're observing is universal, though. Because it's subjective, it's not objective. Is that right?
The laws are subjective. The logic itself would be objective.
No, the laws would be objective. Your subjective opinion on the laws would be subjective.
No, the laws are dependent on the mind because it's our means of conceptualizing something that is objective. If there weren't humans around, there wouldn't be the laws of logic. So it's mind dependent. So they are intersubjective laws.
Interesting. So like if all humans unalived right now, you don't believe that like one thing and another thing that's not the first thing, that's not two things?
No, you're misinterpreting
because there's
what I'm
no
saying.
agent to discern
it. We need to separate logic itself from the laws of logic. The laws are simply descriptors that we use to conceptualize logic itself. If humans cease to exist, then those laws would no longer exist because the laws are something we came up with to try to understand logic.
Okay, so you don't think that
I'm
those
not
laws
saying
were
that,
like
like,
discovered by the intellect. You think that we rationalized them through our intellect is your point, if I'm right.
that's closer to what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't believe that. I think that the human intellect is not universal and doesn't have access to universal knowledge, but we clearly see things in the universe that are universal,
Well,
such as logic.
yeah, I would
Oh, who's this
consider,
feller?
again, I would say the laws are different from the logic itself. Um, I would say technically anything that needs to be like taught that is subjective is not like universal. That doesn't mean that logic itself isn't universal, but the laws of knowledge, I mean, if you're unaware of them, then that's like, sorry, the laws of logic, if you don't have that knowledge, then you wouldn't be aware of them. Yeah, I again think you're kind of muddying the waters between the logic itself and the laws that we use to describe it. But hey, Dalton, how's it going?
Hey, I don't understand why does Christians have such trouble with this concept of understanding
Intersubjective.
the difference
That's what you
between,
mean?
like, you're mistaking the map for the terrain.
That's a really good
I'm not sure what
analogy.
you mean by that.
Like, the universe exists,
Mm-hmm.
and there are patterns in the universe because of the way it exists, and then human beings came along. We had brains and sense organs. We were able to observe the patterns in the universe, and then we created a system to like talk about those patterns, and that system that we use to talk about those patterns we call the laws of logic.
Basically,
And
the
they
map and
weren't.
terrain analogy is what I was trying to say. If you have a map that we create of a terrain, if humans cease to exist and that map disappears, the terrain's not going to change. The terrain remains behind, but the means that we had of trying to navigate that terrain created by the human mind is no longer there.
Okay. Okay, so to use your analogy, I suppose, in the map, on the map, it seems that there is meaning. Like there is meaning to the universe, in the universe, all of the above. I don't think that that's just our interpretation of the universe as our agent intellect.
What do you
Wait,
mean by
who
think
says
that-
there's meaning?
I think that it was created.
What do you mean by
You're
meaning?
presupposing that that it is created because you think that there, like, you think there's meaning because you're presupposing creation.
You think there's meaning because you're presupposing creation.
Yeah, you say
I
that there
think-
seems to be meaning in the map. That's because you think that it was created. So you're trying to say that there must be some meaning to it because it was created.
Yeah, we need to know exactly what you mean by the word meaning here.
Like, I would describe it as like a push to the good. Divine providence is how it'd be rationalized in my worldview. The idea that growing is goodness, and the opposite of that, which is unaliving, is not good. And I would
Well-
justify that in God, right?
Growing
Look
is
at the fucking
good.
president of the United States and say that again.
Growing is
I'm not American.
objectively
So.
good because like if your goal is growing, then growing would be good, because good is just a word we use to describe an action that is beneficial towards a specific goal, but there's nothing inherently good or bad about growing.
Especially if you're a shower.
Oh, goodness. Well, hey, a lot to think about on that dick joke. I'm going to go. Oh, wait, can you say that on TikTok?
Fuck yeah, you can
Yeah, I
say
guess you
dick
can.
joke. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, you use the F word twice, so I'm sure that's okay. There's some things you can't say on this platform. It's hilarious. But anyways, I'm going to look into that more. But I think there might be something there. But great talking to you guys. Thank you.
Yep, have a good one. Did you see I got that final boss guy to to be gay?
Oh yeah, God, final boss is such a final baby. That guy is ridiculous. I don't know why it bothers me so much when I hear Christians start talking about the laws of logic. How do you
Yeah.
logic? They don't need to be ground. They're just descriptors. That's it.
Yeah.
How do I? Next time someone asks you, how do you ground the laws of logic? Just tell them in your coffee grinder or something like that, because it's such a ridiculous question.
Oh, but I don't drink coffee.
Oh, well, there you go. We'll just lie, I guess. I don't know. But anyway,
Good. Like all us dirty atheists do.
Yeah.
Ah.
all right, I'm heading now. I just couldn't stay away from that.
Thank you for stopping by. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Tea grinder. Believe it or not, and this is ironic, I don't like tea either. Like, I know. First of all, living in the South. Second of all, literally being named T, spelled differently, T-E versus T-E-A. I know. A lot of people do just spell my name like the drink. I don't like tea. I never have. I'm also from Alabama, Mateo. And yeah, it's everywhere. Oh. Final boss is back. Breathe if you're gay. I heard that.
Oh, there you go. You lost twice.
This is going great so far. It's even better because I already am queer. I got fucking nothing to lose. You kidding me? Yeah, I know some of y'all bitches in here just like What Christian denies science? A lot of them. Maybe you. If you're 18 plus, come up here. Hello, hello. Crystal, have I said hi to you yet? Hi, Crystal. I'm sorry if I haven't. Ken Ham. Oh, yeah, definitely Ken Ham. You like my sweater? Thank you. I think it was a Christmas gift. I don't even remember anymore. The weather's been playing tricks on us here. It's been like 70 degrees some days. I woke up this morning and it was like in the high 40s. It's annoying. Hey, can I get your name, age, pronouns?
I'll go by. Sorry, hold on.
You sound very young. Are you above 18?
I'm 23. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
I only had the few bars, so. Alright, sorry. Wait, so you said name, age, and what else? I apologize.
What pronouns we should use for you?
Oh, alright. So I'm gonna go by the Queen. I'm 23, and my pronouns are she, her.
Alright, the Queen. What's your religion or lack thereof?
Christian.
Christian. Alright, so why do Christians deny science?
So, I don't know if you can't really group Christians as a whole, right? because we're all individuals, like we're all separate individuals, right? Because you can't, like, for instance, right, I dislike Pisrio. I can't say, but I don't dislike J people, right? So therefore, do you understand what I'm saying? You can't group them all into one category.
Do you
But
believe that Jesus rose from the dead?
I do.
Then you deny science.
But the thing is, science is infallible. It's infallible. It's been proven on multiple occasions. Do you know what infallible is?
I don't think you know what infallible is.
I wouldn't be using the word if I didn't.
You said science is infallible?
Correct.
Yeah, you might want to look that definition up another time.
No, I know what it is.
Okay.
Yes, it's been corrected by more science. Yeah, you can't correct something. That's contradiction. You can't correct. Sorry, but that's exactly what it is. Exactly, it's infallible. I do know what it means. You may want to look it up, but the thing is, you can't. Science has been proven time and time again to reprove what they have already proven, right? Which is a contradiction because it can't be proven again, right? You can't say one thing and then
so you have a
come years
couple
later.
of
Go ahead.
no, hold on.
Go
It's
ahead.
not reproven. Science never claims to prove anything absolutely. That's just not what science claims to do. In fact, sometimes we test things and we find that our results line up with what we thought previously. Sometimes we test things and it doesn't line up with what we thought previously. That's why we
Correct,
don't do
but that would be a
lobotomies
contradiction.
anymore.
Correct.
That's not a
Correct.
contradiction. That is
No,
just
but
that is because we don't have knowledge of everything in the universe. Our means of testing things is constantly improving. When you test something with better means, you might get different results.
correct. But the thing is, right, they accidentally proven the crucifixion of Jesus. They cannot say that he resurrected 3 days later, but
How have they
proven
proven the crucifixion?
I can give you a source, right? So they prove it
Go ahead.
because on the day of the crucifixion, right, it was April 33 AD.
I'd like the proof, please.
I'll give you the source. I can turn my camera on for you. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Because again, I don't deny science. I
Is your
truly
source
don't.
infallible?
No.
Oh.
Wait, what did you
Well,
say?
then-
Sorry, I apologize. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying.
I asked if your source was infallible.
You'll find out, I guess. I don't know. Hold on. Because some people like to deny certain sources, so you'll see. Hold on. Do you claim NASA as a form of science?
Are you talking about the fact that there was an eclipse when they think that Jesus was crucified?
Yes, I'm referring to that.
Yeah, it's a different type of eclipse.
Okay, so I love how you say they think. So therefore, NASA is not NASA. Science is not a reliable source of
No,
I guess
they know there was an eclipse. They think that a crucifixion took place that day. Also, NASA would be an organization that studies science, not a form of science. Just to clarify.
Correct. No, I'm asking.
It's a different type of eclipse.
No, I understand what NASA is, but I'm asking, would you grant that? Because many people don't. That's what I'm asking. Like, if I were to explain the Bible, they wouldn't grant me using the Bible to explain the Bible, right? So that's why I'm asking for, like, the elaboration and clarification. If I can use NASA, I'm not saying the actual...
NASA is a reputable source.
Correct, that's what I was asking. Not what NASA...
You're going to pull up a bunch of eclipses, and you think that one of those eclipses took place during the resurrection as described in the Bible. But the eclipse that happened during that time...
Okay.
The eclipse that happened during that time is not the kind that is described in the Bible. It is a different type of eclipse.
But again, I'm not referring to biblical information. I'm referring to what science provided, right? You can't say what I think. This is what I haven't done this research. Science proved this, not me. So again, I don't understand why you're saying
science proved something. First of all, science never
You wrote
tries
science.
To prove
You didn't
anything.
put historical science. But listen, you wrote why do Christians deny
My
science?
issue
You
is
write
not
historical
with the word
science, philosophical.
The Queen, I need you to take a breath. The word I have a problem with is not science. It's prove. Because again, science doesn't try to prove anything absolutely. But also, you're just using science like it is some sort of force. Like you're saying science proves this. That's not how science works.
No, correct, but I'm not using it as the foundation, nor am I using it to land the plane, right? What I'm trying to explain to you is, right, Christians don't deny science, but you can't just say everything that scientists claim and or state is accurate, right? Because again,
I don't
when
say
new
that.
okay, hold on, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying when you see
the
how I'm
opposite
saying
of what I
you,
said.
but you're saying I. When I say you, I don't mean you, because when you're saying I'm assuming, presuming you're not meaning me. But if you are, then you are.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, wonderful. I don't understand why you're saying I, because that was never my claim. So then, therefore, you're putting words in my mouth. But
Okay, what were you gonna claim when you're asking me if I would accept science, NASA as a source for science?
because many people don't take that, they don't grant
I
that
know.
as a
Where were
source.
you going with that?
No,
What
I
were you
wasn't
gonna-
going. I was asking you if that was permissible, if you were going to accept that. That's
For
all it was.
what?
Because I wouldn't have brought it up if you weren't going to.
What
You
were
already
you
knew what I
bringing
was.
up?
What you? Oh my gosh. Okay, can I please just
Oh,
finish
so
my
I did know your
sentence?
argument. So I didn't put words in your mouth. I knew exactly what you were gonna
No,
say.
no,
Now
no,
you can't
no.
backtrack on
You
it.
no. I didn't get to bring up my information. You asked me, are you referring to the eclipses, right?
Mhm.
And then after that, you're saying, well, this is what NASA actually is. But again, I wasn't giving you the actual what NASA was. I was asking if NASA was permissible for you. Would you grant that as a source? That's all it was. It wasn't. I wasn't leading
You're
anywhere
focusing on the
with
wrong
that.
thing yet again. Why do you
You just asked me that though. You just asked. What do you mean I'm focusing? That's what
I
you just
asked
asked
you
me.
what your argument was.
You want me to
Why you were
okay.
bringing up NASA?
Because
I
was
understand
rebuttaling. Okay.
the Queen. I swear to the God you believe in. If you say because I want to know if you would accept it, that's not what I'm asking. I'm
I
asking
understand.
what was your argument for which you were going to cite NASA as a source.
Right. I was citing NASA as a source because I was rebuttaling to what you said prior to me bringing up NASA.
By saying what? What is your rebuttal?
I wasn't able to finish because you started saying things about what
I've asked it like 5 times now for you to say it.
Okay, you're saying that why do Christians deny science, right? And I told you we do not. And I was using that as proof to you that it's not, we don't.
Give me
Okay,
your
what?
fucking argument.
Yeah, clarify
Why?
what you want me to say because I'm confused. I don't understand.
If I ask you why you
You're
brought
asking
up NASA,
my question. You're
if I
asking me
ask you
again
why
the
you brought
same.
up NASA again, you're gonna say the fucking thing again about, oh, I just want to know if you'd accept it. What information from NASA were you going to cite?
The eclipse that
Why?
occurred on the day of the crucifixion of Jesus.
Thank you.
Yes,
So I
and then you
didn't-
went on a rampage of how
So I
there's
didn't
different
put
eclipses.
words in your mouth.
No, you did. No, but the thing, that's not what I said you were putting words in my mouth about. That's not what I was referring to.
It was a different type of eclipse.
Correct, but that's not what I was referring to when I said you were putting words in my mouth. And I understand that you said it multiple times that there was multiple eclipses. That the day that they apparently think was the day of the crucifixion, right? You keep saying think, or I think. That's what you said. You think.
Yeah, there's no universally agreed upon date for when the crucifixion happened.
Right. So okay, but what I want you to understand is, right, your claim is that Christians deny science. I'm Christian. I'm not denying science, but what I'm trying to make you understand is that you can't say that science is accurate. You're saying that no, that doesn't claim to be, but you can't use science in every argument
I can
against
say it's accurate. I cannot say it's 100% accurate.
correct. So therefore it's not accurate. If it's not 100%, it's not accurate. You understand? You can't be 97% in something. You can't be 96% in something.
That would actually be a pretty good amount to be.
All right, but then you wouldn't be fully committed, so therefore it's not accurate. You wouldn't commit to what you're saying. You understand? It wouldn't be like right? When I'm making these statements to you, I'm committing to what I'm saying. So therefore, I'm not going to contradict later and say, no, I didn't say this. Because I know what was coming out of this live.
Hold on. Do you know with 100% certainty that if you drive your car to work, you're not going to get into an accident?
No.
So you can't say that you're not going to get into an accident before you leave for work?
No, I can't say. It's not up to me to decide who's on the road that day.
How do you miss the point when it is 20 feet tall and 2 inches from you?
So you're saying, okay, no, I understand the point you're trying to make, but this hypothetical is just illogical because, right, I'm going out, I'm taking the, I guess, quote unquote risk to get in an accident, right? But there's no percentage that yes, you may or yeah, you may not, right? So therefore it's just inaccurate, it's just illogical. I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, we don't know anything ever with 100% certainty. Literally
We don't
nothing.
right. We don't know if the fucking earth is gonna close on us one day. We don't know. We don't know.
Correct. That doesn't mean that we can't make statements, truth statements about anything. My name is T. I can make that statement. Is it possible that I'm actually a brain in a jar and I don't actually have a name? Sure.
No, but when you try to argue with religious people, right? When you try to argue religion and or debate, right? You like to use science, correct?
Yes,
you like to
because
say,
it's based on observable evidence. Religion is
right,
not.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So the thing is, right? You guys like to argue whether it is the sun came prior to the creation of the earth, or right? That's a lot
The
of
sun
arguments
had
I've
to have
heard.
come first, yes.
Right, that's what scientists say, but I love how you believe scientists, because how do you know in 50 years from now they don't go back and say, actually, well, the new information and technology that has came out actually said that the earth came prior to the sun. Then what are you going to sit and say, oh, are you going to unalive on that hill, or what are you going to do? Because you're going to say, oh, it's not 100%, it's only 90 or a few percent. They're not 100%.
So this is a very, very well demonstrated fact. But if there were to be circumstances in which we found out that we were wrong, we would adjust our models.
Wonderful. So I like the accountability being taken, but the thing is, when you're saying all these things, right, and your argument is always science says this, science says that, it's hearsay, right? If you were in court and I say, well,
It's
science
not
says
hearsay.
no, listen, right? No, please, just a moment, right?
It's based on evidence. That's not hearsay.
Right. But many things are evident, but many people don't grant it, right? That's why, again, I asked about NASA if you would grant it, because there's a lot
That's
of
not
evidence
what I
to
mean
many
when I say-
things. For instance, there's been many eyewitness, right? Eyewitnesses have seen the miracles that Jesus have performed, right? And
Nope.
they have written. Okay, no, okay.
There's no
So-
eyewitness accounts of the life of Jesus.
Really? So all these other religions who have stated that they don't say he was a son of God. They just said that he was a man, that he walked this earth. So you're saying that they're all lying. All these religions are lying about him. They're not
I'm
claiming
saying
that
there are not eyewitness accounts of the life. We have no contemporary writings of the
Okay.
life of Jesus.
So these are not eyewitnesses saying that this man walked the earth. So if I see you right now and
Correct.
say you're robot goat, so you're not a living person. I'm not seeing you currently. My eyes are deceiving me. Who are you? AI? What are you? Are you AI? I'm confused.
I'm not even sure what point you think you're making. What I'm saying is we don't
Am
have
I not
any,
seeing you?
we don't
Okay,
have
my camera's not on. You're not seeing
we
me. but I'm
don't
seeing-
have
Go ahead.
any contemporary writings of the life of Jesus.
But said who?
What do you mean says who? It's not based off of someone saying this.
No, like
me an
according
example.
to who?
Find me an example.
So for instance, the Alexandria Library, all that information that was in there that we don't know now, if we magically I guess figure it out in this day and age, would that now magically be, even though it was already figured out prior to our generation or even our fucking timeline, just think about that, right? You want to say, oh well, Jesus, oh we don't, but again, that's inaccurate. But again, like I said,
we don't have any contemporary writings of the life of Jesus.
Nor do we have anything from the Alexandria Library. So what's what I'm not understanding.
We have writings of it being burned down.
Correct, but no information from within.
What is your point? We have contemporary writings
Within
of what happened to
okay,
it.
so and I could say the Sodom and Gomorrah was turned to sulfur. Now what? I can write that down, and now what?
I would need evidence that it happened, which we also don't have.
Okay, so where's the evidence of okay, but that's the thing. What you're not understanding is, right, a lot of information that happened, like anything of history, really, right, they put it into their own narrative, right? So and same thing with scientists, they put it into their own interpretation and perception of what they're seeing and or researching, right? So that's why you keep saying that it's not 100%, because again, it's an opinion that they I guess that's their own.
I
Go
need
ahead.
you to stay on a point.
Well, I'm not okay, because you keep saying that there's no information of Jesus, but there is, and I gave you again
No,
multiple.
I said there's no
Bi-
contemporary writings. Do you understand what contemporary means?
Yes, I do. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Yes, I do know what that means, but I didn't hear that part. I keep hearing you repeat the same, because again, I keep hearing the same thing. So I'm trying to track it, but it's like it keeps getting like I'm internalizing it in my brain. So like, can you please restate it again? I apologize. Go
That's
ahead.
called thinking. Yes, there are
No, I
no
think I-
contemporary writings of the life of Jesus.
Okay. So therefore, so you're just saying he was just. So what is he then? So what would you say
some
he was?
people-
For
some
you,
people
just
would-
you. Sorry.
Some people would describe themselves as mythicists. They don't believe that he existed even as a historical figure. I don't really have a strong opinion over whether or not he existed historically, but I don't believe he was divine.
All right. So do you grant he was a person, a human that walked this earth, though, the current earth that we're on right now?
Based on what I just said, what do you think?
You don't think that he was divine, so you don't think he was God. But like I said, the other religions don't think he was
Yeah.
divine as well.
Based
but they
on what I
believe in
just
him.
said, what do you think is going to be my answer to that question?
You believe in him, but you don't think he was divine.
The Queen, if you don't listen to anything that I say, how are we supposed to have a conversation with each other?
I'm listening, but it's like, I don't know, because I don't know. What's your actually? Can I ask you? Are you agnostic, atheist? I didn't get.
Yeah,
to choose
I'm an
one.
agnostic atheist.
All right. So okay, this is really a question for agnostics, not for
Hey,
atheists.
engineer.
It's like, okay, so atheism is completely different in my opinion, but I always ask this to agnostics, right? You say that you don't know or you're unsure, but there's so many opportunities and ways you can research a religion. I'm not saying you're forced to have to be.
Hold on, I want to clarify. I'm an agnostic atheist. The Christian God I fully believe is not real. I actively disbelieve in the Christian God, if that helps.
Abrahamic God or just the Christian God?
Yeah, Abrahamic God. But we're
Okay.
talking about Christianity, so that's why I said Christian.
Correct. No, I understand, but that's what I'm just asking, just to clarify. But all right, so I don't know, because the thing is, if you don't have belief in it, like the thing I need open when I normally discuss with people, they're open-minded, right? You can't just say, oh well, I could say you never existed as well, right? I can say that you were never a person, you never walked this earth. Like I can say that, right?
There's evidence of me, right? There's photographs of me, there's contemporary writings of me, there's a digital footprint of me, there's 272 people watching me.
No, I'm referring to if you were born in biblical times, not now.
Okay, I wouldn't really care whether or not you thought I was a person, but like if I was
No, it's
someone
not
who's
if you
claiming
were
to
a
be
person.
God,
I'm just saying.
that would be the important part, right?
Okay, so I don't know, claiming to be God. So you don't believe in any prophets, you don't believe in any messiahs, you just don't believe in anything at all, like anything biblical or religious at all. Just no anything regarding the theology or anything regarding the Abrahamic faith, I guess, and religion.
Correct.
I don't know. I don't know what to debate you, because I think like there's really no debate, because again, I do believe, I don't deny science, but I don't grant it accurate, right? Because again, it's opinions that people
It's not
perceive.
opinions. It's based
How
on
is it not?
It's based on empirical evidence. It's based off of objective data.
Right. It's based off evidence and data that can be changed in a few years. So therefore it's not accurate, because if it was, it wouldn't be able to change, right? Like the Bible hasn't changed, so it wouldn't be able to change if it was accurate, right?
Thank you for the level of sparks, P. The Queen, let me ask you this. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Has that always been your favorite color?
Yes, since I've came out the vagina, yes.
Didn't need that. Okay, what's your favorite food?
My palate is quite wide. I don't know. I couldn't give you one.
Is your favorite food now the same as your favorite food when you were a baby?
Yeah. I can give you right here. Sweet potato fries. There you go.
Sweet potato fries. Well, you couldn't always eat those, right? When you were very, very young, you couldn't digest them. So you probably had like a favorite baby food, right?
Well, again, I can only recall things since 2 years old. I can't really recall anything prior to that, so I'm unsure, because baby food is fed prior to 2 years old.
Yeah, you would have died if you had been eating solids your entire life. So
no, of course.
Again, I'm not that you weren't always eating solids. So your favorite food wasn't always sweet potato fries. Does that mean you can't tell me that your favorite food is sweet potato fries because it hasn't always been that way and it could change in the future?
But the thing is, it's not my favorite food. I just ate that recently, but I've been eating it.
Girl, I asked you what your favorite food was.
I don't have one though. Like I don't have a preference for a certain food. Like if I were to, okay, so if I had to eat a food until like unalive, there wouldn't be one I could just pick out, which is I guess choose oxygen, because I don't have one.
Okay, I'm just trying to find some analogy for you. Just because there is something that has not always been your favorite thing, but currently is your favorite thing, that does not mean you cannot have a truth statement about your favorite things. My favorite color is periwinkle. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I would have said blue. Does that mean I can't say my favorite color is periwinkle because it hasn't always been periwinkle and I could change my mind and it not be periwinkle later?
All right, so the thing is, that's an anecdotal experience, though. When you're promoting and
Oh my
pushing this
fucking-
agenda,
Bye.
no.
GG's, I lasted as long as I could. That's what she said. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yes, Craig, 35, about to be 36, he, him.
And what is your religion or lack thereof, Craig?
I am pagan, but, I gave you a follow because I love your content. I came
thank
across
you.
your page, today recently and was like, oh, I really love this content. So, yeah, I gave you a follow, and stuff like that.
Well, thank you. That's
So,
very sweet of
yeah,
you. I am mostly trying to keep it to
absolutely.
ops tonight, but it's
Okay.
nice to meet you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me up.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of your evening. And happy
You
almost
too.
birthday. Let's see how this goes. Oh, thank you, Emmy. That's very kind of you. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns? I cannot hear you.
Hello?
Ah, there you are. Hey, can I get your name,
Okay.
age, and pronouns?
Uza, 19, and he, him.
All right, Uzo, what's your religion or lack thereof?
I'm Christian.
All right, why do Christians deny science?
You'd have to demonstrate that they do. So,
Do you believe that Jesus raised from
also,
the dead?
can you define science?
Do you
can
believe
you-
that Jesus
you-
raised from the dead?
Yes.
You deny science.
Can you define science, and then can you also demonstrate the proposition that Christians deny science? So,
Yeah, I would say that science is the process of making observations about the world through repeatable testing and empirical evidence.
so you're an empiricist?
I just define science that way.
Are you an
I define
empiricist? I'm
science
asking
the
your
way that I
epistemology.
define science.
I'm
Oh,
asking
boy.
your epistemology.
Oh, you're
so-
very glossary. All right, I'm sorry, but for glossaries, I have a kick poll.
Oh, you're gonna run away? Don't run away
No,
now.
it's just a kick poll for glossaries because no one likes listening to you because you're like really uninteresting and disingenuous. So, I'm
So
just
when
gonna
someone
do a
educated comes onto the
quick-
panel, you're gonna run away. Got it.
No, see, that's the thing. I stopped calling you guys Phil Bros because that was giving you too much credit, right? That suggests that you've actually like read into philosophy beyond the glossary, which is why I decided to start calling you guys glossaries instead.
Why couldn't you answer whether or not you're an empiricist?
You're asking me irrelevant questions. Ooh, not looking good for you.
Wait, knowing your epistemology is irrelevant to the prompt?
Well, I'm asking
But-
why Christians deny science. Why do you have to know my epistemology to talk about whether?
Because this
deny
is your
science?
claim. You're affirming the proposition that Christians deny science, not me. I'm doing an internal critique.
Yeah. So why do you have
you
to
know
look
I'm
at my
you know I'm screen recording
epistemology?
this, right?
So
Oh
am
my
I.
god, you're gonna
This is
get
go up-
clipped.
This is gonna go up on YouTube later.
This is gonna look bad for you.
Hi. I'm putting this up on YouTube, so not really too worried about that. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be 46 votes to kick, 8 to keep. Yep, sorry about that. I'm really not. You guys were nicer than I expected on that one. Oh, I accidentally dragged the multi-guest screen off page. There we are.
Hello.
Hey, woo, you sound kind of far away.
Sorry, how you doing?
Hey, doing all right. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
30. He, him?
And what should I call you?
Huh?
What should I call you?
You just call me by my name.
Which is
Taylor.
Taylor.
Does it
Gotcha.
not? It doesn't say it?
Well, it says TaylorMade 11-6.
Oh, yeah.
I
Alright,
I
yeah,
could
you
assume
call-
that was your name, but I've had people come in with the name Sarah, and they're like, "My name's Mac." So
Okay.
That's why I ask. What's your religion or lack thereof?
I'm Christian.
All right. Why do Christians deny science?
We just deny some science, not all science. And the
Okay.
reason
Why do you
why,
get to pick and choose?
because you're doing no different than what I'm doing, except you're just not worshiping the the knowledge of what you know
What
through
am I
science.
doing? How am I
You're
denying
putting
science?
no, I'm saying you're doing no different than me believing in a God, except you're just not worshiping it, but you're putting your trust and your hope into that science that is the all of knowing through
No.
through man and test through science. That is, you can't go beyond through, you don't have no higher standard but just man, and you will have to
Yeah,
trust
so
that man.
science is based off of repeatable observations, right? It's based off of experimentation. A lot of which I've done myself because I have studied science in a formal educational setting. To just say that I'm like putting faith in it, no. That's the entire point of science is not just taking things on faith. It's about using the evidence that we have available to us to draw reasonable conclusions.
So I got a question. How do you believe the moon?
Do I believe what?
Do you believe the moon? Do you
The
believe in the moon?
moon?
Do you think the moon is real?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I can see it for one,
How do you know that's real?
because I can see it.
Just because you can see something doesn't mean. But how do you know it's real? That's what my point. How do you know that's real?
If I can see something, it is real.
That doesn't mean no. You can see a lot of things, and sometimes it's not real. It could be an illusion.
You think the moon is an illusion?
No, but this is proving my point. You don't know because you don't know the moon is real because you've never been to the moon.
We have people
Ha-
orbiting the moon like right
Oh,
now.
okay, exactly. That's my point. So you're putting your trust that those people are going to the moon. So you're trusting in those people that are going to the moon. So that you're putting your trust.
No, I'm
How?
not putting my trust that people are going to the moon. There's good evidence that those people are going to the moon.
Okay, right, I understand that, but how do you know? Where's your evidence? You don't have evidence because you're not going to the moon.
I
You're having
don't have
somebody else.
evidence. Yeah.
Right,
Are you trying to say that just because I am not directly like a part of the trip to the moon that I can't know for sure it's happening?
exactly. You don't know
Okay,
that.
were you there when your parents had sex that conceived you?
No,
So how do you know that it happened?
because I'm going through a higher standard of what the Bible says. I'm going through it all through a
The
creator.
only way you know that your parents boned is the Bible.
Yes, because I have a ground.
Where in the Bible? Where
I
in the
have a
Bible does it
standard.
say that your parents had sex?
What do you mean? Because
Where in the
God,
Bible does it
hold
say
on,
that your parents had sex? You say you
hold
know
on.
because of the Bible that your parents
Right,
had sex. Where does it say that?
right. Because I wouldn't be formed no other way. The Bible tells us we were formed in our mother's womb.
In your mother's.
Yes.
Sorry, it sounded like you said in your mother's room. Oh.
Nah, you good.
Yeah. Again, that doesn't answer how you know that your parents had sex to make you.
I just told you because I have a standard. I have
Joel
a
Tech
superior.
issue raid. Ah!
I
What's
have
up,
a
guys?
superior
My
standard.
microphone works. Fuck you, Joel. Yeah, what I'm trying to
You
say
don't
is
have a
the
standard.
evidence that your parents had sex and conceived you is that you exist, right? That's the
Yes,
evidence. You weren't there to witness it, but
but I'm
you
going off of
exist. So
right.
so we can conclude that your parents had sex.
Right, but I'm going off of author or creator. You don't have a creator. You're going off of science. So you're believing other men that tell you that this is real. That's all you're doing. You're believing in something that
I mean,
is
not just
that you
it's testable. Again, I could do a
you
DNA
have
test.
you
I can
haven't
see I'm
tested
related
the
to my
moon.
parents.
Have you tested the moon? Have you
Have
tested
I
the sun?
tested the moon? Have I
Yes. How
tested the
do you know?
sun? Yes.
How do you know the moon's really there? How do you know it's not an illusion?
How do I know the moon's not an illusion? Again, because there's evidence.
That,
There's
you're
evidence we
proving my
can
point.
see that the moon is not an illusion. For instance, the tides.
You're proving my point. Okay. Okay. So if a genie or a magician does a magic trick and he does an illusion, are those tricks real? Or are they illusions?
that is completely unrelated to what we're talking about.
No, it's not. You're not.
It is.
You're
We
not,
can.
I don't think you're comprehending.
We have so much evidence that the moon. Like again, you're just saying because we are using evidence to support something rather than just like observing the thing directly, we can't actually know that that thing is real or happened, and that's just
Exactly.
unreasonable because you accept a ton of things that you didn't see happen directly.
No, I lead off the Bible, and I know that I know the author. Say if a scientist say something, I will have to end goal try to line it up with the Word of God. Like say if a scientist just says, "Hey, this randomly just
Okay, hold
spawned
on.
here."
I'm gonna ask you another thing. Do you believe that Donald Trump won the last election, the 2024 election?
I'm not. I don't get into. I don't do politics.
Do you believe that he won?
I know.
Do you believe that he got the most votes?
I don't know. See, I don't know. I feel like that stuff is rigged too. I feel like that could be rigged. I honestly, I feel like it could be rigged too. I'm for real. No, that's my honest. Can you give me some? Can you give me something else? Because no,
unreasonable about everything. Then how the fuck are we supposed to have a conversation?
No, you know how they say like sports is rigged. I believe like a lot of sports is rigged. I feel like a lot of things are just
okay. Well, if you go with just the like everything's a conspiracy and nothing I say is falsifiable, then like
no, I'm
yeah,
not saying.
we're not
I
gonna
just
be
say
able
get
to have
something
a
else.
conversation, Taylor.
I just say get something else. You were trying to.
Yeah, I was trying to use an example of something that would be like universally agreed upon, right? Like the number of votes that were cast.
You said what, man? I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, Cyber, thanks. I was trying to use something that I thought would be like universally agreed upon, such as like someone receiving more votes than someone else. We weren't there to see every single vote get cast, personally. But there's evidence that they won because people counted the votes, because people tallied up how many people voted for specific people. Like, we go off of things that we don't directly observe.
Can you use something else? Can you give me something else? And
I'll
be honest about it.
I'm gonna let you go talk to someone else because you're being just. I feel like I would have a more lively and more pleasant conversation with a brick wall. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Jeffrey, 31, pronoun is him.
All right, Jeffrey, what is your religion or lack thereof? And also, are you, by any chance, in a car?
Yeah, but I'm not driving.
You're a passenger?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, do you want me to tell my driver to pull over?
You slipped up.
Hello.
Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
You just call me H. I'm 19. Him.
All right, H. What is your religion or lack thereof?
I mean, I'm a Christian, obviously.
Not obviously. I've had a... sorry?
What was the arts?
Can you repeat what you said?
What else did you ask me for?
I will ask name, age, pronouns, and then religion or lack thereof.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm a Christian.
Yeah, you said, like, obviously, and I have people come up that aren't, so...
Yeah, because the prompt is Christians, isn't it? So I thought...
Yeah, but not everyone who comes up is Christian, so that's why I ask. Because, again, I've had a pagan come up here tonight. I've had someone come up here tonight that didn't have any religious affiliation, so...
Fair enough. So what science do Christians deny?
I would say a lot of them deny evolution. A lot of them deny the age of the Earth. I would say that a lot of them, well, almost all of them, believe that someone raised from the dead, which is not scientifically possible.
Okay, so you do realize most of the stuff you mentioned are theories, right?
Oh boy. What do you think a theory means in a scientific context?
So a theory means what they think is true, so...
Nope, that's not correct.
So what does a theory mean?
Colloquially, yes, that's what theory means. But in a scientific context, theory means that it is the explanation supported by the most evidence.
Okay, so the evolution theory is the only theory that people have today that's based on science.
No, it's the most supported one, and it's generally accepted that evolution is a fact.
Okay, but am I wrong to say there are other theories?
Not ones that are supported by evidence.
But that's not what I asked.
Well, yeah, anyone could come up. Someone could say like, "My theory is I shat out the world 2 days ago." Okay, that's not.
Okay, and if you had evidence for it, you would accept it,
No,
right? If they didn't have evidence for it, you wouldn't accept it.
I would have to critique the evidence. I'm not just going to
All right.
automatically accept their evidence. I would have to
Okay.
critically examine it. I'll have to see if it aligns with our current models.
Okay, and that's what Christians did. We
No.
cross-examined it, we read it, and we checked to see if it went along with ours, and we said,
No,
no.
you don't check to see if it goes along with the evidence. You check to see if it goes along with what you want to believe is true. That's kind of the problem.
No, it goes with our religious beliefs.
Precisely, which is not based on evidence.
No, because the evidence has been given isn't necessarily true or proven.
That's why we critique evidence, but your religion is not based off of evidence. It's based off of faith.
According to you. Because
Like,
when I
definition.
do my research on stuff like Jesus, I've seen and I've researched many manuscripts affirming it. So I've done my research on that.
That's not scientific evidence. That's not just saying, well, some manuscripts say that he's real. Yeah, some manuscripts out there say Percy Jackson is real.
Okay. So how could you prove someone is real previously then? If you don't have someone else saying it's real?
You could have like contemporary writings of that person. You could have
Okay, so
documentation of that person.
Okay, so is there science? Like, if you guys went to Jesus' grave, could you guys get the science
Which
and
one?
see if he was there?
There's 3 different tombs that claim to be the tomb of Jesus. Which one?
Any of them?
Any of them? I mean, you kind of have to fit, because he couldn't have been buried in 3 places unless they trisected him, right?
They
So
checked all 3 of them. Or is there any DNA related to Jesus?
any DNA related to Jesus? We don't
That's
have a
what-
DNA sample of Jesus.
Oh, okay, so there wasn't.
No, because we don't have any DNA sample of Jesus.
Was there DNA of anybody in those tombs?
I don't think that would prove anything if there was.
No, because we believe Jesus didn't die, right? So if there was no DNA,
Wouldn't
would
Jesus still would have left DNA behind,
I'm talking
but
about,
it wouldn't have been preserved forever.
okay,
How long
So
do you
there's
think
still-
DNA
there's still-
lasts?
I mean, there will be his bones and they'll fossilize, no?
Remains and DNA are not the same thing.
Okay, but what is it? You know what I'm trying to say?
What? Why did
You're
I
going
get
around.
restricted for harassment? This has been a very
Yeah.
mild conversation.
I feel like you are. No, I'm joking.
Well, if you're trying
But,
to say that it's bullying because I know so much more, I mean, maybe.
No, I'm
but,
joking.
but
Wait,
we
what?
don't. What?
Anyways, so my point is, if Jesus actually died, his remains would be 6 foot underneath, right? So whether that's in his bones, whether that's in whatever kind of way you want to say, there would be evidence proving that there's DNA there. But the fact that there's no evidence, and I've seen in the comments someone said
Oh,
there's no
Joel's
DNA.
blaming me for his stream going down? That motherfucker. Just because I cut all of the fiber lines to his house, just because I went and I disconnected all of his equipment last night, that does not mean that I did anything to mess up his stream. I would never, ever do that. But also, it would be really funny if I did. Sorry, H. There's this like Canadian that like is obsessed with me. Yeah,
No, it's fine.
I don't think that 3 tombs, none of which we can verify was actually where we think that Jesus was buried, may or may not have remains in them. That's just not convincing evidence of anything. And say they did find remains in there, how would you know that they are Jesus's remains?
Because from what I know, his tomb was his alone. There was no other people who were buried with him.
Yeah, but how do you know those are Jesus's remains?
because if there was remains, which there isn't, my point is the fact that there was nothing there and there was no DNA found, even if it was across all three of them, the fact that there was nothing found in all three of them, it shows there wasn't a remain in all three of them. So it shows there's a body missing in all three of
Okay,
them.
so maybe none of those were where Jesus was supposedly buried. You would have to convince me why I would believe that any of those is where Jesus was
Okay,
supposedly
but then this is
buried.
circular. I'm talking about factual. You said there's 3 different places where he was buried.
No,
I
there's 3
didn't.
different
I don't
places
know
that claim to be where he was buried. You would have to convince me that one of them actually was the place that he was buried. And even then, you wouldn't be telling me much of anything. Like, if you confirm that Jesus was supposedly buried in one place, him not being there anymore doesn't mean that he resurrected. His body could have been taken.
Okay, but then have you read? Because I'm not gonna ask you have you read the Bible, but when I read the Bible, there was guards outside of the tomb who proved that the body wasn't taken. And from my
According to
understanding,
the Bible.
someone writes something down.
Yeah, according
And-
to the Bible. So if the Bible's not true, then we can't trust that there were actually guards.
How does a book become true?
How does a book become true? It's not becoming true, it's whether or not the book is describing true events.
Exactly. So how is a book true?
That's a nonsense question. But
No,
it's not
because you're saying it depends if the book is true. So
right, it depends on
from your
whether the
standard-
events described in the book are true. If the
Okay,
events
so-
described in the book are not true, then why would I even believe that there are guards there?
Right. So we believe the book is true. You're saying it depends if the book is true or not.
Yeah, you
So
have
how
to
do you
show me
know-
evidence that the book is true.
So if I told you someone wrote the book based on eyewitness account, you would say no, that's not true.
I would say that there aren't eyewitness accounts in the Bible of the
Okay, so how
resurrection.
could someone prove that an eyewitness wrote it down scientifically?
If the accounts that we had were like actually signed rather than anonymous, that would be a good start. If we had
Okay.
manuscripts from that time period that were written within like a reasonable amount of time after the crucifixion would have occurred, that would be a good start.
Mhm.
If we had more like historical record of that execution taking place, that would be a good start.
Okay, so if the eyewitness testimonies put their signature at the end of the thing, you will believe it's true.
Well,
That-
the
that's
problem
what-
is
that's
a
one of
lot
the
of the Bible
factors.
just says this is eyewitness testimony, but the evidence doesn't support that. Cyber, I'm gonna let you hop up for a little while. We are trying to keep it to minimal friendlies up here tonight.
Well, and real quick, we're forgetting something, right? So the myth of Osiris states that his brother chopped him up and threw him into the Nile, and then he was resurrected. But it is the case that when we go into the Nile, we don't find the body of Osiris. So this means that he must have actually been resurrected. Osiris is a god. This is H. This is your logic.
I mean, he was swimming in the river and he might have went somewhere else, isn't it? So
Well, no, according to the manuscripts that we have, the mythology, he was chopped into little bits by his brother. And then his wife, Isis, found him and sewed him back together, and he was resurrected, which is why he's the god of the underworld. And it is the case that if we're to believe all manuscripts, when we go and look in the Nile, we don't find his body. He was resurrected.
are there any eyewitness testimonies to this?
Yeah, we have manuscripts that talk about it.
No, I mean, are there eyewitness testimonies about it?
Yeah, the other Egyptian gods, they testify of this.
No, humans,
Pharaohs testify of this.
people, not gods.
Say what?
Are there any eyewitness testimonies from people?
Yeah, the other Egyptian gods, they testify of it.
I'm not talking about gods. I'm talking about humans.
Why would
Oh,
humans
can you
be
name
more
any?
reliable than gods?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think God can physically write and recount something for us to read.
Oh, well, let me ask you a quick question then. Can you name one eyewitness that talks about Jesus?
I could talk about the apostles.
Yeah, can you name one of the apostles that talks about him?
Yeah.
Where can we read their writings?
Where's the apostles' account?
John, Matthew, Luke, Mark.
John says that it's written by multiple people. At the end, it says, we know this testimony to be true.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your point?
So so John didn't write it.
And Paul never met the living Jesus. He thought that he met Jesus in the form of like visions. It's people in comments are saying Paul.
Yeah, Paul fell off his horse and got concussed.
But
and thought he had a vision.
I'm failing to understand your point.
Say what?
I'm failing to understand your point because people like Thomas, people like Peter, they all...
Yeah, where's their writings? We have people that say they existed, but where's their writings that say they actually saw Jesus?
They recounted their story. Not everybody could read and write during this time, so all of them, they recounted their story and it was written down.
So what you're saying is we don't have their stories, that we don't have their testimonies?
So when you go to court, you speak in the court, you give your eyewitness testimony.
Can you answer the question that Cyber just asked you?
I'm giving you an example. When you go to court,
I don't want an example. I'd like an answer to the question.
What's his question?
Yeah, because you specifically asked me for eyewitnesses, right? You're expecting eyewitnesses. So I'm asking you, where's your eyewitnesses?
In the Bible.
For Jesus. Well, the Bible, Matthew wasn't written by Matthew. Do you know how we know Matthew wasn't written by Matthew?
Explain.
So Matthew gets his own conversion story, word for word, from Mark. But if you go and you read what the church fathers say about Mark, especially Papias states that Mark was like the interpreter for Peter, and he'd listen to Peter give his sermons, and then later on in life, he wrote them down. He wrote down what he could remember. So clearly...
Matthew wrote Matthew.
Wait, what?
I never said Matthew wrote Matthew.
Oh, so Matthew's not an eyewitness testimony then.
I said,
so
you asked me to name an eyewitness, and I named Matthew. I never said Matthew wrote Matthew.
Okay, so Matthew's not an eyewitness. Who's an eyewitness whose writings we have that saw Jesus?
Said Matthew is an eyewitness, but I didn't say he wrote Matthew. His book is called Matthew.
Where's his writings? Where's Matthew's writings?
Matthew didn't write. Matthew gave an eyewitness account.
To who?
To multiple people. He gave some to...
Yeah, where can I read that? Where can I read Matthew's eyewitness testimony?
Early manuscript.
What manuscript? Give me the name of the book.
It's called...
You said it wasn't Matthew.
It's an early manuscript.
What's its name?
Because
you said it wasn't the Gospel of Matthew.
If you Google the Christian early manuscript, you'll find it.
So you don't know it.
Okay.
It's called... I usually type out the
fucking
Christian...
nowhere.
We're
not going to do your homework for you. Cyber, thank you for coming up. I'm going to go ahead and let you go move on to the next guest.
Yep, not a problem. Thanks for bringing me up.
Have a good one.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yeah, my name is Heather. I am 38 and I go by she.
Sweet. All right. And what's your religion or lack thereof?
Oh man, I hate religion so very deeply. And I just stumbled upon your live and holy crap, I fucking love you. You're wonderful.
Thank you. That's
like
very sweet
super, super, super cool, super funny. Holy shit. Man, that the last like 4 people I've listened to, this shit is crazy. Like very wild, very, very insane.
It's been wild tonight, believe it or not.
Jeez, oh Pete, it must. I was just on another live, and it must just be like wacky Christian Tuesday or something, or like they're all fired up after Easter, too much chocolate or something.
Might be
deviled egg farts or whatever the fuck. I mean, this shit is
deviled
crazy,
eggs
dude.
on Easter.
Oh, on Easter,
it's Jesus's day.
It's some pearl
God
clutching.
damn it, Heather.
God damn it. No, this is wild. And you know what's really funny, I think, is like how around this time of year, they're very indignant. It's like it's not always like that. Yeah, they're just they just went to church for the first time probably all year, and they're like, I'm feeling the body of Christ and shit like that. It's just crazy. But yeah, you're doing the Lord's work, girl.
Woo! Opposite. Thank you for coming up, Heather.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a good one.
But you too.
Alrighty. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Sure. Zeke, 26, and he, him.
All right, and what's your religion or lack thereof?
I'm a Christian.
Sorry, hold on. I have to type hate mail to someone else.
Wild, but understandable. I said I'm a Christian.
Cool. Why do Christians deny science?
Well, I think the premise in and of itself is false. If you look throughout history, a lot of major scientists and people who were executors of scientific endeavor were doing it from a place of pursuing more knowledge of the creator. So I think the premise is a little off, but I understand that's also just a good way to get viewers, get lives, get
It's a good way to start conversations. But if I can ask clarifying questions, just to do you believe that the creation story in Genesis is literal?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you do deny science.
No. Hold on. That is a jumping to a conclusion.
But
I don't deny science.
It directly contradicts the scientific evidence.
No, it does. It denies a particular theory. There are multiple theories.
The largest body of scientific evidence.
It denies a particular theory. It denies the particular theory of evolution.
Can you clarify what you mean when you say theory?
What I mean by theory is a hypothesis that has been tested, has met is a hypothesis that has been tested, has met the standards has met the standards set by man to determine, okay, is this factual or not? And it has moved on from hypothesis to theory. However, there are other theories that have met those standards. However, I will concede that yes, there are standards, or there is a body of evidence, but in my eyes, I see a body of evidence that goes both ways, personally.
How does it go the way of suggesting young Earth or the creation story of the Bible? Because there's not any evidence that I'm aware of that aligns with the biblical creation story.
Well, let's start with one thing. There is a lack of interspecies. Not interspecies. Forgive me. The point at which man forms, like going from proto-humans. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I'm with my kid. Forgive me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but my whole
point that happening in the background.
My apologies. I'm sorry. My premise was essentially that you do not have the body of evidence of, if there's millions of years that have been going on between humanity. Oh boy. Sorry, I'm walking around. There's not enough evidence of the... Sorry, allow me to collect myself. The fossil record does not have enough I'm trying to think of what the word would be. It's not interspecies, because it's not like one species becomes another species, but rather the transition periods individually. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I think you have some sort of misconceptions about what evolution is.
Well, no, but then explain it, so that way we're on the same page and we're talking same terms. Because maybe I'm looking at it differently.
Every fossil that we've ever found is a transition fossil. Every single one that we've ever found.
Explain. Explain it.
That's the thing. Yeah. So evolution is just going to be a change in heritable characteristics in a population over multiple generations.
But couldn't that also just be explained by adaptation?
Adaptation is a mechanism of evolution.
Okay, so who's to say that evolution in adaptation are not the same. So evolution and adaptation, as I understand the terms, are essentially the same thing. Except I believe. So let me explain how I look at it. Yeah.
Evolution can occur through different mechanisms.
Okay. What's another?
To be one of them.
Okay. What's the other mecanism?
There's also
other mechanisms.
There's also genetic drift.
So mutation. So essentially mutations. Genetic drift sounds like mutation.
No, genetic drift is just when a trait becomes fixed or completely absent in a population. There are also extinction events. There's like bottleneck events that can happen that greatly reduce a population that may or may not have anything to do with adaptations. Like if there's an earthquake that wipes out half a population, it's gonna change the gene pool of the population with no regard to like survival of the fittest. It's just survival of who didn't get crushed under rocks in a landslide, you know?
Okay, but how does any of that prove that there isn't a creator?
Evolution doesn't talk about whether or not there is a creator. It talks about how life has changed since it's been present on Earth. But the evidence
but I'm sure like everybody believes that that's a thing. Like there's no way whether the Earth is 7 billion years old or 7,000 years old, from the beginning of time to present, it doesn't matter. There changes will have been made. That to me is not evolution. It's I guess the way I look at the way you describe evolution and the way I look at adaptation would be one and the same. But essentially,
well, that's just because
species will adapt.
Understand what evolution is. I just gave you an example of how it might not be about adaptation. Half of a population getting wiped out by an avalanche.
I understand, but what I'm saying is the idea that species have changed from the beginning of time to now, to me, is not evolution. That's merely adaptation. The same thing you would find with like
evolution is. That is definitionally evolution.
Okay. I guess I feel a little standoffish. I feel I was a little standoffish. I don't want to
pull this card because people make fun of me when I pull this card, but I did get a degree in this.
Okay, that's great.
I had a fair amount of formal education on what evolution is and its mechanisms.
Okay, I'm not saying what it is or isn't. I'm just saying what my understanding of it is and what it isn't.
And I'm trying to help deepen your understanding because it seems to me that you have some misconceptions about it.
Okay, and that probably is so. I'm gonna be the first person to admit myself as a fool when I am one, or whether I lack knowledge.
Like, let me ask you this: what is a species?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to dig back into my biology class.
Well, it's kind of a trick question. It's a bit of a mean question.
Well, species
isn't one definition. That's the point of my question.
Okay.
There's multiple different definitions for species, and all of them fail at one point or another. The most commonly used one is going to be the biological definition of species, which is probably what most people think of. Basically just whether or not two organisms can reproduce and they can have fertile offspring. That's what some people use, because if they're too genetically different to be able to reproduce, that's good evidence that they're not of the same species. But we do have a few instances where this breaks down, where there are animals that we would consider to be of a different species that are able to produce fertile offspring. So that breaks down. We have like the morphological definition of species, which looks more at like the observable phenotype, but doesn't necessarily go off of genetics. So that can fail because we have some snakes that look very, very similar to each other, but genetically are very different. There's different definitions of what a species even is. When we're talking about evolution, a lot of people, they, especially if they're Christian, they tend to have this idea of like kinds, and they kind of supplement kinds for species because they don't like that there's not a firm definition of what species is. But the problem with that is, again, it's gonna fall apart somewhere. Classification is a lot more than that.
Right. I feel like that's a little bit of a failure on the side of science. Like, I feel like it'd be easier for everybody if there was a single definition, but I understand, like you said, definitions will break down. Eventually you'll find something that will kind of screw it up.
species is kind of a concept that we've created. There's not an objective version of what a species is.
Right. This is a species. This is our prime example of species. I understand. My other argument, just because I only jumped on because I was listening to you talk to H, I think the guy's name was, and he was I understood the argument he was trying to make regarding not finding the body of Christ, but he was just making it very poorly. The argument that I would make is, at least in that particular case, is we have the lives of the disciples, of the apostles, the people who did know Christ personally.
Where?
They knew him. They saw him die.
Where?
What do you mean where? We have the records of Josephus. We have the records of Tacitus. We have these are Jewish Roman. No. Listen, Jewish Roman historians.
Those are not contemporary writings, and they deny Jesus.
They deny that he may have been God, but they don't deny his existence. They don't deny that he died, and they don't deny that
Tacitus never mentions the name Jesus.
Let me see.
I've read it. He says Christus, that there was a figure known as Christus who was worshipped, who suffered, I think it's like ultimate torment or ultimate punishment at the hands of the Romans. That's all that Tacitus says. Josephus, his records are a little bit spotty. There are some places where it seems that there were passages about Jesus that were kind of added into the text afterwards. Also, just so you know, we can't hear you unless you're back in the app.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I was just going to make sure I had my names and everything right. However, so Christus is Christ, Jesus Christ. Christus
my claim was he does not say Jesus, which is true.
I mean, fair, but neither does the Bible. Technically speaking, the Bible doesn't call him by Jesus either. It calls him Yeshua. If you read the Greek, if you read the Hebrew, it was Yeshua. Jesus is not in the Bible. Hell is not in the Bible. There are so many words that we modern Christians use that are not in the Bible. So if we're gonna nitpick language, then we can nitpick the whole Bible by saying, well, technically speaking, these words aren't in there. But that's because
they only referred to him by title, not by a name. Joel's talking shit about me again. Fucking this guy. They should
my apologies that you seem
Canada's
to have.
Don't got talent. More like
my apologies that you have to deal with a creepy lurker.
You can tell him yeah, he is a creep. Hey, engineer, what's up? This is not the creep. This is friend of the channel.
No, I figured not. It'd be weird if you had the creep on.
Yeah, I'll never talk to the creep. But hey, engineer, you know more about the mythicism claims than I do.
Yeah, I heard Tacitus and Josephus, and it was kind of like a spider sense thing, maybe like a bat signal that was shot up into the sky, and I'm like, somebody needs me.
What would your signal be shaped like?
Probably a dick, but
I would answer to that too. You gotta choose one that's specific.
No, it's well dick. It's a well dick. Anyways, sorry, I don't want to get you taken down or anything or flagged. So hey, OG Mark, how you doing?
Doing good. I like listening. I like talking. I don't think my mind would be changed, and I don't think I'm going to change any minds. However, I just disagree with the premise that Christians deny science. I believe that we are all striving towards the same. Ultimately, atheist Christians, we all strive for the same goal, which is to discover truth, in my opinion, or at least that's my goal. I can't speak for all of Christianity. Christianity is not a monolith. I can speak for myself, though. As a Christian, my ultimate desire is to seek out truth because I believe in a God of truth. And my goal in life is to serve and understand him as best I can while I am on this mortal coil.
Well, I mean, I heard you affirm creationism earlier, so I know all that's kind of a crock of shit. But What about Josephus?
Are you wait? Hold up. A question though. Are you accusing me of being a crock of shit because I said I like truth and I would like to learn as much as I can about truth?
Well, no. What I'm saying is a crock of shit here is this idea that you're out to seek truth, as opposed to being out to seek a defense for Christianity, because like you're a young Earth creationist, right?
I don't really have a particular stance. It doesn't ultimately matter to me in the end of the day. My stance is just I do believe that my stance is that God did create the earth. Yes, I do believe it was 7 literal days. Whether that was 7,000 years ago or 6 million years ago, I don't care. It doesn't really have any bearing on me.
What if it was 4.5 billion years ago? Like, would that matter?
Okay. No, none of it. The timing to me doesn't matter. What matters to me is just...
Why not take a stance based on the information? Why are you just saying, well, I don't have a stance? Why not look into the information, look at the evidence, and draw a conclusion from that?
Because you and I can look at the same evidence and draw 2 different conclusions.
Right. Okay. Hold on. I want to draw off that. I want to draw off of that a little bit there, OG Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we know as far as scientifically goes. Okay. Mm-hmm. There was a star that collapsed somewhere in the universe.
Were you there? Right? Were you there?
I was.
How do we know that? Like no, but like genuine question. Genuine question. Genuine question though. Genuine question.
It was free because I have AMC A-list.
How do we know that? Like, what is the thing? What do we look at to get that information?
Are you really asking me how do we know that stars collapse?
No, that's a straw man. That's not what I asked. I said, how do we know that one star in particular at the beginning of time collapsed on itself?
That's not what I said.
Okay, then sorry, I jumped the gun.
Ooh, Uno reverse. You're straw manning me.
You're right. I did. Forgive me for that. Permit me to not jump the gun.
I think I can.
Right. So more
than Namlords? That's not right, surely.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So more than 4.5 billion years ago, a star collapsed. Like, can we agree that stars collapsing is a thing that's been happening since stars started forming?
Absolutely. Where's the evidence that is not true?
I mean, that's what I would ask you. But okay, so a star collapsed more than 4.5 billion years ago. And the shock wave of that star collapsing, right, ended up hitting a gas cloud. Okay? That gas cloud ended up condensing into particles.
Okay.
Those particles use static forces in order to clump together, and when enough of them clumped together, gravity took hold, and then once enough matter collected in one space, the gravity was so great that it started creating fusion.
Okay. So it fused the particle, it fused the masses together.
Right. It created a sun. Okay. A star. Another star.
Oh, okay. So it just created another star. Okay.
Right. This is how astrophysicists and cosmologists understand cosmic evolution, right? And so a star formed, and then out of the rest of the particles that were surrounding that, planets started to form. They started to collect, right? And once those static forces, just like the static forces that created the star, once those were great enough, gravity took hold and planets started to form, right?
Okay.
Okay? One of those planets was the Earth.
Okay.
Where is God in this process?
Well, one could argue. This is where there's the differences between evolutionary creationists, Christians who believe evolution happened, but they still believe God is there, all that. But one could make the argument that God created the star. God created the star and the gases in the universe, and then let things spin from there.
So,
all right, OG Mark Jacob, I gotta let you go. You've been voted off the island, and your baby is very loud in the background.
My apologies. Sorry for that. But just a question though, like where would the star have come from? Where would any of it have come from if there was not some ultimate beginning?
I explained it.
Where?
Well, I requested us to talk about mythicism, but we ended up talking about cosmic evolution.
I will point out that I cut him off perfectly, so it sounded like he was just joining his baby and also crying. Wayne.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But hey, it is good to see you. Would you like to tell the people here what we're going to be doing next Friday?
Yes, so not this coming Friday, but the next Friday, the 17th, robotgoat and I are going to be taking over Truth Wanted. And that's a show put on by the atheist community of Austin on Friday nights, where we talk about not only religion, but a plethora of other things like UFOs and like conspiracies and all this other stuff. I actually, whenever I go on Truth Wanted, I've actually got a game. Like it's a card game that's it basically runs you through the gambit of conspiracy theories, and it's a multiple guest game. And I usually like to play that between callers, or like if we don't have anybody calling, like I'll give you like a description of the conspiracy, and then you've got to guess which one's right.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, I'll have to brush up on my conspiracies.
Yeah.
And then I just end up coming on the show and I believe in them all of a sudden.
No,
I'm like, I'm going to brush up on these conspiracies, and I show up and I'm a flat earther.
No, see, I doubt that, because like Truth Wanted is definitely meant to be more open-minded than I guess maybe I am, which is why I'm curious I get invited on the show. Because like whenever somebody starts talking about like alien experiences or whatnot, I'm just sitting there like, oh yeah. And did they probe you?
Oh yeah.
Did they probe you deep?
How hard do they probe you?
I don't take the crazy seriously, and so but maybe I just hide it well enough. I don't.
That means I've got to take them very seriously.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They probed you? How deep? How many inches? Can
Yeah.
you show us?
Is it elbow deep, or is it just like wrist? Like, did they really care about you,
Was
or
it like
like
a prolapse situation? Did they use lube? Were they gentle? You know, the important questions.
Yeah.
They did it dry like Ben Shapiro.
Oh no! Not the
And that's
bishop
why I'm
pussy.
married to her. So as far as the mythicism topic goes that the guest was trying to engage with in the last one, yeah, there's no extra biblical evidence that actually solidifies like Jesus existing in history. It's all regurgitation of what Christians already believe. Like no matter what source you're thinking about, Josephus, Tacitus, Thallus, Marbar Serapion, Pliny the Younger, like all of those are just regurgitations of what Christians already believed in the 2nd century. Late 1st century, early 2nd century. But in the case of Josephus, it's actually more like 3rd century, because that's like interpolated and everything. But in any case, like as far as the mythicism topic goes, my best advice is to stick with Paul, like analyze the Pauline verses. And I think that you'll find that Paul doesn't actually state that Jesus was like ever crucified on earth. And you don't even have to go into like Paul mythicism or anything like that, like whether or not Paul existed. You just have to look at what Paul wrote, and like he's so vague about everything, and his only evidence is scripture and revelation. It makes you question it. Bye, Heather. I hope you have a good night.
I have someone in here who is reacting to what you're saying, and they had requested a while back before. So I'm going to bring up this next guest if you're game to talk with them.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Hello.
Hey,
Thanks,
can I
Phil.
get your name, age, and pronouns?
My name is Cole. I'm 21, and my pronouns are he, him.
All right, Cole. What's your religion or lack thereof?
We can say I'm a Christian for like ease of, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I noticed you putting the in the chat when we were talking about mythicism. Is that a topic that interests you? Because I'd seen you up here in the request before.
I was more just in the fact that he said Paul didn't explicitly say Christ was crucified on planet Earth. I just thought that I was wondering where else Christ could have been crucified at and like what he was referencing there.
Good question. So, the firmament.
The firmament? Christ was crucified on the firmament?
Yep, by Satan and his demons. All of his brosefs up there.
What verse are you necessarily referencing?
Good question. So there is a verse, I can't remember it exactly. I think it might be in maybe Corinthians or whatnot, but it talks about the archons of this aeon, like crucifying Jesus or killing Jesus, right? And who do you think that Paul preached as being the rulers of this world?
Oh, I think Paul is referencing the Jewish leaders of the covenant world.
So is that who Paul later recognizes as the powers and principalities of this world?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So in 1 Corinthians 2:6-8, when he talks about the archons of this aeon or the archons of this age, you think that he's referencing the Sanhedrin.
Basically, yes.
So you think that the Jews in occupied Roman territory were ruling the world?
Well, the covenant world, like
the covenant world. Is there a difference between the world and the covenant world in Paul's eyes?
Yes, for sure.
No. You cannot cite book, chapter, verse.
Okay,
Paul,
so what word is Paul using the okomene in that when he says world?
No, he doesn't say world. He says age.
Okay, well, yeah, the rulers of the age, that being the Mosaic age, would have been the Jewish leaders.
No. This was Second Temple Judaism, so it wasn't the Mosaic age, right? This would come later. So,
but no,
Paul
that was
later,
the age that they were in.
No,
the Mosaic age.
No. So later on, in Paul's writings, he identifies Satan as the power and principalities. That's why Paul stated that you should render. Well, this is using Jesus's words, but these are Paul's words reified into Jesus's words. You should render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? You should pay the taxes. Okay. And so that acknowledges that the Romans were rulers at that time, but they weren't the rulers of the age. Those weren't the ones that Paul was fighting against and Jesus was fighting against. Who was Jesus fighting? Was it the Romans, the Sanhedrin, or was it Satan?
I don't believe there is a single Satan entity.
Who confronted Jesus in the wilderness then?
Yeah, like the word Diablo or Satan means something like accuser or adversary. So
is there a Diablo in Koine Greek?
Yes, it's Diablos, I believe, is devil in Greek.
I don't remember Paul writing that, but I could be wrong about that. In any case, so
I was going to say I believe that's Christ's own mind in the wilderness that is the adversary to him there.
I don't know what interpretation you're working with here, but the adversary or Satan or Lucifer or Satan,
Lucifer
in this instance, is definitely it's definitely a separate entity because Satan is a syncretism with Zoroastrianism.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible that in the late 1st century there is some synchronizing going on with the accuser and this
No, I'm sorry, but there's syncretism going on with Philo of Alexandria in the early 1st century. So why do you think the syncretization was only going on later?
I gotta be real here, guys. I don't know if anyone but y'all are tracking this conversation.
I'm so sorry. I know this is totally
that's fine.
Nerd shit.
I like rock on, love the nerd shit, but I do feel like even I'm kind of like, what?
Yeah. No, okay, I get you. So essentially, the Satan character is a syncretization with Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is a very Persian and very early religion that has a celestial adversary that Paul and Philo of Alexandria syncretized into Judaism in order to give it that mystery cult vibe, right? And so that's why Paul focuses on Satan. He focuses on the adversary. He focuses on the Satan and his demons crucifying Jesus in the firmament, and that's why in First Corinthians, I can't remember the chapter that I mentioned earlier, 2:6-10 or something like that. That's why he says the archons of this aeon is because he considers Satan to be the ruler of this world, and this is 6-8. Sorry, 1 Corinthians 2:6-8 is where it's at, and then if you look at Hebrews, which is an adjacent community to Paul, or it could be even Paul's community, I'm trying to land the plane. They specifically identify, Satan and his demons as being in the heavens and everything like that, and there being copies of things in the heavens and everything. So, this is a thoroughly thought out, theology here. To suggest that Paul wasn't thinking of Satan in this respect, you would actually need to provide some kind of positive evidence.
So, we see plenty of times in the biblical text the word Satan be used just for any sort of adversarial. Like Peter is called a Satan. God is even called a Satan in the Old Testament.
Right. So you're talking about. Sorry to interrupt, but you're talking about all Old Testament stuff, and the adversary is definitely.
Peter is also called a Satan.
I'm not exactly sure about that, but the Old Testament has a position.
Get behind me.
The old
Satan.
Right, Satan, who's the adversary, but the adversary is held by one particular entity, and that's a syncretism, which is Zoroastrianism. But in the Old Testament, I will grant you that the adversary is a particular position in God's court, right? So it can be held by multiple people or multiple divine entities, rather. And so that's true of the Old Testament, but the New Testament re-envisioned this particular part. So you're doing a bunch of eisegesis on the New Testament text here, is what you're doing.
No. This wouldn't be eisegesis because the adversaries to Christ's ministry would have been the Jewish Sanhedrin and the religious leaders of the time. So
this is all just you ad hoc stating it, and I feel like we're definitely glossing over the eyes of the audience here, because you're just simply stating that it is some kind of position, or that there's multiple adversaries, when in actuality there's only one adversary in the in the New Testament, and that's held by Satan or Lucifer, that's syncretized in from another religion. So you just simply stating it is not going to be convincing whatsoever. You would need to provide some kind of actual scriptural evidence from the New Testament that there's no single figure, which I don't think you're going to be able to find.
So because it isn't. It's just a title. That's the thing. It is just a title.
In the Old Testament, not in the New Testament. The New Testament is not just a title; it's an actual.
Peter is called as
I
Satan.
opened up a poll real quick for kick or keep, just to see.
So unless we're going to say Peter himself is this single entity, then we would also have to say it's just a title in the New Testament.
No, because the New Testament is a syncretization with another religion that has a single entity as opposed to just a title. So you would actually need to make some kind of positive case that it was still a title instead of a single entity.
Like I said, that being because the title is given to a person.
Well, no. It wasn't a title given to Peter. It's not like Peter was known as Satan. He was saying that Satan has taken control of Peter, is what that's what the grammar implies there. Like, get back thee, Satan. That it implies not that he is Satan, but that he is, being controlled by Satan, because that's the entire point of Christianity, is that it's Jesus versus Satan in this respect. Mark makes that very clear by Jesus going out. I believe it's Mark where he goes out into the wilderness after he's baptized, and being confronted by Satan. So it's not like he's saying that Peter is Satan. He's saying that Peter's being controlled by Satan. And there's multiple other instances in Mark and the other Gospels where the Satan is being controlled. I'm so I know that everybody's glossing over this Bible nerd shit right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with full preterism, but I'm a full preterist. So
right, I know about preterism. It's a bullshit position that says all the prophecies were fulfilled when the temple fell in 70 AD, and that's just total bullshit right there. So, I mean, go back and look at Matt Slick's boot if you want to.
And I've been also would you be interested in debating that topic if you think that?
Yeah, I'll debate that topic all you want to, but not on Robot Goat's Lab, because this is totally fucking boring.
I'm talking about like an actual debate, like a formal debate.
No, yeah, I'll totally formally debate you, but not here, because this is boring.
Yeah, I will follow you, and maybe we can see about getting that figured out.
Yeah, totally. Right. Let's do that there.
All right, you have a good one, Cole.
Thank you.
Okay, look, I just have to apologize. When I get into the zone like that and I start talking about that stuff, like, I totally forget about how not everybody's interested in that kind of bullshit. How
dare you be knowledgeable about shit that you're passionate about, you fuck.
I know, I'm such a fucking asshole here.
Damn, but, educating yourself on topics before you speak on them? What the fuck?
Fuck me. Yeah, but anyways, I've got to go because I've got a long day of like meetings and shit at work and everything. But hey, you're doing great here, Robot Goat, and I can't wait to host Truth Wanted with you. Okay.
I'm very excited for it. I'm sure I'll see you again before then, but I'll also see you then.
Yep, definitely. All right, you have a good night.
You too. All right, this is probably gonna be my last guest that I let up. Just because I know they've been waiting a little bit. Hey there, B. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yeah, it's B. 32, and hopefully people can tell I'm a woman. I hope so. She.
Okay, cool. What's your religion or lack thereof?
Christian. I had a question about the guy that was just up here. Not the guest, but the one explaining the stars stuff. I wasn't tracking. Where did he say the star came from?
You'd have to talk to Godless about that. My stuff is biology, not gonna be the astronomy.
Oh, okay. So you don't know where the stars come from, or like you don't have a guess of where they come from?
Are you trying to say that, like, if I can't tell you the exact mechanisms, that I have to accept that God did it?
No, because I'm just asking.
It is known. I'm just not as familiar with astronomy as I am with, like, evolutionary biology. There's a scientific consensus on the formation of stars. I'm just not deeply familiar with the mechanism.
Oh, okay. So there's a science consensus that explains, like, how the stars came to be.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't know, like, anything though about it?
You're asking this in a very condescending way. I'm sure it's not intentional. But again, my area of study is biology, not astronomy.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. So then I guess you can answer this one then. So who do humans evolve from?
Who?
Or like what? What do humans evolve from, I guess?
From hominid ancestors.
Okay. Where do hominid ancestors evolve from?
If we're just gonna keep going all the way back, I can take it back to all life on Earth shares a common single-celled ancestor. If we're just going to keep going back and back and back and
That's
back.
fine. No, that works. And where does that common cell ancestor... I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, what is the very beginning of the human existence, right? Like, what is the very first thing that starts
You would
it
have
all?
to clarify what you mean by human existence. Because
Okay,
colloquially,
well,
that would mean our species, Homo sapiens. But technically, any species in the genus Homo would be considered a human. So like Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalis, those would all fall under the category of human.
Let's do Homo erectus.
So you want to know specifically the origin of Homo erectus? Why does that matter to you?
Just where does it evolve from?
Yeah, eventually it's all going to go back to that single-celled ancestor. We have a fossil record of all of the like ape-like ancestors that we had leading up to our hominid ancestors. We have like very basic, simple-celled ancestors.
Where does that simple-celled organism evolve from? Like at its basic form, where does that evolve?
That would not evolve from anything. Evolution is going to be the change in heritable characteristics in a population across generations. The leading theory for the formation of the first cell would be abiogenesis.
Okay. And educate me a little bit on biogenesis really quickly.
Abiogenesis. So abiogenesis is the idea that organic life can come from non-living materials.
Okay. And then, so non-living materials, what would those be?
Yeah, so like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, primarily.
Where do those come from?
Where do those come from?
Yeah, like they had to get here somehow. Like they had to have been created somehow. Like where, what created?
You're presupposing that they had to have been created.
Oh, really? Oh, they just always existed?
Possibly.
Possibly?
I kind of am leaning more into the camp that the universe is eternal.
Okay, so nothing created it. It just is. Like there was nothing that had to happen for it to come into being. It just...
If it is eternal, correct. Nothing had to happen for it to come into being because it always was.
So there's no beginning to the universe.
Correct.
So I guess what he was saying earlier doesn't quite compute then, because he talks about...
It's weird. I think it actually like does compute. If you like look at the science, I think what he was saying actually like does compute. That's so weird.
Yeah, he said the falling star created all this, but then we don't know where the
I don't think he actually like said created, because like created would imply creationism.
Yeah, so where did the star come from? Because that's where, right, that's where everything happens, right? The star?
Are you talking about the sun?
I think we need to know, like, how the star happened.
Yeah, like, again, like I said, there's a scientific consensus on the formation of stars. If you want to look into that, you absolutely can. But I just think that, like, asking me all these disingenuous questions, then not listening to my answers is kind of, like, a waste of both of our time.
So... asking a question about where the star came from is disingenuous?
Asking disingenuous questions after I've already told you multiple times that my area of study is primarily biology, and then you asking me like nonsense questions about biology and then thinking that it says something when I can't answer your nonsense questions, it's kind of like, yeah, it's just like disingenuous.
Well, I would think if you're going to put your whole trust in this, you would want to know where the star comes from.
And I would think, like, I haven't said one way or the other how I think, like, the universe, like, exists in its current state. You're the one presupposing that everything had to be created.
So... I would think that if you're going to put your faith in science, you would know a little bit about it. That's all I'm saying.
And I would think you would know if you're going to question me on science. You know that the first life wouldn't have evolved because evolution only describes how life changes after it appeared.
Where does the star come from?
That's unfortunate. I think you misheard what I said because I wasn't talking about the star. I was talking about life. Because again,
you don't know.
My specialty is biology.
You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, and again, God of the gaps is not gonna get it for us, right? So just saying like, well, because you don't specifically know every step in star formation means that therefore God must have done it is not gonna work. Because I highly doubt that you know every step of how to assemble a car, but that doesn't mean that God has to do it.
You don't know how stars were formed, and you're telling us God isn't real. So that's just interesting.
Yeah, just like, again, because that's like God of the gaps. Just saying like, you don't understand something, therefore it must have been God. And I understand because there's like a lot of things that you probably don't understand, so you have to put God in there. But that's not how like you come to the most logical conclusions. Typically, you would like look at the evidence and you would draw conclusions based on the evidence, not just saying, oh, well, I don't specifically know how this works, therefore the only explanation possible is that it was God.
Where did the stars come from?
Oh, B, I'm so sorry. You might want to clean your ears out because we've already been over this question.
Where did they come from? You didn't have the answer.
Where did they come from? Not God. Is that a good enough answer for you?
No. Where did they come from? Where did the stars come from?
I'm so sorry. I hate. Do you like get amnesia and like forget the last 10 seconds because we've already done this, sweetie?
Where did the stars come from?
Oh my God, you're stuck on a loop. Are you like a vinyl record?
Where did the stars come from?
Where did the stars come from, B?
Let's just answer.
God must have made them. Once again, there's a scientific consensus on the mechanisms behind star formation, and just because I personally am not able to give you an absolute step-by-step on how stars are formed doesn't mean that we have to accept that a magic man in the sky who likes graping little kids did it.
So you're telling me you don't even know what the science consensus is, but we should believe you.
I'm not trying to tell you what the mechanism is, so you don't have to believe me.
Because you don't know.
Okay, sweetie, do you know the mechanism behind star formation?
I do know.
Okay, describe it to me.
God hung them in the sky.
How?
Like the Bible says. How?
Yeah.
I'm not God. I'm not God.
Oh, so you don't know?
I know God hung them in the sky.
Oh, so you don't know. Oh, so you're just trusting that it was God, so you don't know precisely how God did it?
Well, you tell me how it was done.
That's embarrassing, bestie.
You tell me how it was done.
You don't know how God hung the stars in the sky?
You tell me how it was done.
No, so you don't know? So you don't know how God hung the stars?
Tell me how they...
So how did God hang the stars?
Tell me how they...
So how did God hang the stars?
Tell me how they...
So how did God hang the stars?
Tell me how
they... So how did God hang the stars? So how did God hang... So how... Get out of my life.
Tell me how they...
Oh my God. That was something. Wow. So how did God hang the stars? Yeah, it's just not reasonable to say because you can't dictate every single step of the process from which stars are formed because it wasn't something that you specifically studied in college, then therefore you have to accept that like a magic man in the sky did it. I'm not trying to make any specific claims about how stars were formed. If I was, then sure. Ask me my specific sources. Ask me the evidence for it, like I provided with evolution and abiogenesis. But on that note, we're all gonna go over and bother Joel, but we're all gonna tell him that he made me cry, okay? We're all gonna go in and we're all gonna tell Joel that he made me cry. So we're gonna go over to Joel Reed's Bible. Where's the fucking attribution? Oh, he's already here. Oh, he's just little. Oh no. Hold on, I got this. We're gonna go over and bother Joel and tell him that he made me cry. Let's see if he feels bad about it. Alright. Follow me if you haven't already, and I will see you guys around. Bye!